Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Yvette Janier Holder. I am a board member for both the New York chapter as well as COMTO National. I serve as the executive vice president on the COMTO New York board and also a member of the uh, uh, member at large on the COMTO National level. I'd like to welcome you to this evening's event and also introduce you to our president of the New York chapter, Richard Watson. Rich?
Thank you, Yvette. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. If you have cameras, why don't you turn your cameras on and join us? We would love to see the individuals who have joined us this evening, but if not, it's okay. We understand some people are shy, and then we understand some people are not, but we accept all people, whether you're shy or not. So listen, COMTO, I want to explain to you who COMTO is, what we are, who we are, and what we do. As short and sweet so we can get into this evening's discussion, because we have a wonderful presentation from a dynamic individual, Mr. Greg Bradley. So I'll just explain to you, give you a brief description of who COMTO is. So COMTO is a national organization, right? It's Conference of Minority Transportation Officials. We started back in 1971 on the college campus of Howard University. There were 7 young individuals who felt that there was time to have an impact on one of the most important industries in this country, which is transportation. And since then, we've grown to 37 chapters across the US and 1 in Canada, with COMTO-New York being one of the leading chapters, of course. So what is COMTO? COMTO, we're about, trying to do everything we can to level the playing field in the transportation industry. And so how do we do this? We do this through political advocacy, training. We have events. We do scholarship. We do information sharing like we do this evening, because we want to make sure we get all information out as possible so that people can capitalize off of it and make their impact in this industry. We definitely engage our hubs, our WMBEs. We also engage our veterans. And definitely the communities of color, right? We also include them in our process of putting forth our agenda and mission. And again, like I said, we do this through political advocacy, training, and development. And so this evening's session is that training development portion, right? How do we get folks to the next level? How do we provide them information so that they can succeed and prosper in their journey in the transportation industry? And so tonight we have our own board member, Greg Bradley, who is a dynamic, he's a dynamic trainer. He's very known in COMTO. If you guys ever had the opportunity to join one of our conferences, annual conferences, you'll find that Greg's sessions are like standing room only because he delivers some awesome information that folks can definitely use. So I'm not going to hold us up any much longer. I was just allowing other folks to join in while I give the presentation of who COMTO is. So I'm going to turn it back over to Yvette Janier Holder, our host for this evening, and I'm sure everyone is going to enjoy this. So I'll see you guys after the presentation, and we'll have some great conversation. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Rich. And with no further ado, I introduce to you Greg Bradley, our chair for professional development and also our hub committees.
Thank you, Yvette. Thank you, Rich. And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Professional Development Thursdays. My name is Greg Bradley, and as Rich and Yvette said, I'm one of the board members here of Professional Development and the Small Business Chair. And we do a 4-part series every year on professional development, and this is part 1. I think this is part 1, right? This is part 1. And we're going to be talking about something that I think everybody can benefit from, and which is time management. And I just need to know if I'm going to be able to share my screen, Yvette. Okay, let's see, we share our screen. Let's see, I think there it is. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes, okay, I'm gonna put it on that. Okay, very good. Okay. All right, I'm gonna move the faces over so I can see the screen. Okay, so we're gonna talk about time management, how to keep your priorities in order. So we all have this issue about managing time, but just a little bit about me. I am a former transportation executive, as Rich mentioned. I worked for the MTA for about 25 years. I was the chief diversity officer for Metro North. I was a labor relations person in transit, worked in buses, also was a VP of HR. I have my own company, Bradley Consulting and Training, and I do a lot of training all around the nation. This year, I just went international, got back from Canada. I actually dodged all the smoke up in Canada, so that was a good thing. But when I got back here, I saw all the smoke. Didn't understand that, but that's what happened. So what we want to do is talk about some of the things that we want to share and help you identify and prioritize important responsibilities. One of the things that I think we all want to try to do is, or ask, is how do we maximize the time that we actually have? And so that's one of the things that we want to try to do today. We also want to figure out how do we set and execute our goals and objectives effectively. If you take a look at 3, how to break the bad habit of procrastination. I'm going to be asking people to put stuff in the chat because I kind of want to see what's going on in the chat. And then learn how we manage our distractions and improve our daily output. So you all know we have about 1440 minutes every day. So we've got work. Hold on one second. I just want to move. Okay, good. So we know we've got work, we got school, we got families, we got pets, we got businesses, we got to sleep, we got to travel, we got to do all of this other stuff. And the question is, do we have enough time to do all of those things? And one of the things that I'd like to say is if we can manage our time more effectively, you can get a lot of the things that you really like to get done without stressing out, because I think one of the leading causes of stress is that people, we try to crunch so many things in our day, and it's a stressor. And so I don't believe in stressing. I just believe in managing my priorities. Now, and this is something that I do on a regular basis. This is not something that I've read in a book. This is what I practice. So I'm going to be giving you some practical information on how to manage your priorities. Because if anybody knows me, and I see a couple of people on the call that know me, they know I'm a pretty busy guy, but I like the fact that I can get some stuff done and still feel good about myself. So I want you to answer this in the chat. Okay, I want to see the chat. Okay. What are your biggest challenges when it comes to managing your time? Okay. I'm going to give you some time to do that. Let me see. Maybe I need to. All right. I'll just go ahead and just do that. I want to start looking at some of the responses. Okay. I'm going to move this chat box over here so I can see it all. Oh, I was going in and out. Sorry about that. Can you still hear me? Okay. Overthinking. I see Janita says, I'm overthinking and too many thoughts of what I need to get done. Yeah, that's possible. If you have everything in your head, because what we want to try to do, Janita, is get some of this stuff outside of your head. All right. Anna Marie says, taking on too much. We're going to give you some tips on how not to do that as well. Okay. Jonathan says, set a priority list but it gets co-opted. Too many fires to put out. Absolutely. Yes, yes. I'm loving the response. Rich, prioritizing and managing the unexpected. Absolutely. We're going to try to give you some tips on how to manage the interruptions that come. Okay, Lisette says, I am retired now, but when I worked meeting deadlines that come to pass and continue business as usual. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So we've got some real good stuff here. So what we want to try to do is figure out, how do we manage all of these things in the best way? All right. Oh, sorry. Okay, so we're talking about how do we improve our time management skills. So I'm going to be giving you some snippets as we go along. So the first thing you're going to see here in this first column is setting a goal. It's very important when you manage your time to set a goal. And so it says you have to set a daily, weekly, or monthly goal. And if you set that goal, you get it done, you will feel a sense of accomplishment. And I guarantee you. Now, one of the things that you have to do is that you can't set too many goals in a day. So what Jonathan said is true. If you got, 15 goals that you want to do in a day and you can only get 5 done, you're going to get frustrated. So one of the things when we talk about managing your priorities, you need to make sure you set the right number of goals. I always try to set no more than 6 goals in a day. I can always add if I get all 6 done, but I never write down 15 goals in a day. You know why? And remember, those goals can be work goals and personal goals. So for example, I have to write out pay the Amex bill. I put that on my to-do list because if I don't put it on there, it's kind of like who said that you have all these things in your head and you can't remember what you need to do. So I take everything out of my head and I put it on a piece of paper or I put it in an app, which I'll talk to you about a little bit later, and I set the goal. So try to set 5 to 6 goals a day. And then as you accomplish those goals, you check them off. So for example, if you got a meeting, put the meeting down, check it off. If you've got you got a lunch meeting, put down lunch meeting, check it off. If you've got to go pick up something from the pharmacy, put it down, pick it up, check it off. So if you set goals that are reasonable in a day, you'll get it. You'll get them done. Also, when you plan weekly or monthly goals, it becomes a lot easier for you to forecast what kind of work you got to get done in a month. So I hang around, I have a calendar that I use in Microsoft, the Microsoft suite, the calendar. I have everything, everywhere I'm supposed to be in that calendar for the whole month. And if something comes up, I add it to the calendar and I print that calendar off. I have it a paper copy and I actually have it on my computer. And so that helps me with my goal setting. Look at the middle. Talks about prioritizing. And when we talk about prioritizing, so you've got the 6 goals on your paper or on your app. What you need to do now is prioritize those 6 goals. Once you set the goals, those are the tasks that you have to prioritize by importance. You do the most important stuff first. You have to do that. If you've got a meeting, you got to make sure you make the meeting. If you've got to make some phone calls, you got to make some phone calls. If you got to pay a bill because the bill's due today, you've got to prioritize that. And when you focus on the stuff that you have to prioritize, you're going to get the greatest returns from your priority list. Make sure you do that. Then you got to plan. Now, I know some of you saying, well, should you plan first? I think they're all related. They're all related. So when you plan your work, you work your plan. You've heard people say that. But if you make a plan, you have to stick to it. And it's very, very easy to get distracted from your plan. And so you also have to build in some distraction time. Okay, so that's why I use 6 goals a day. I anticipate something popping up so that I can handle it. That's why you never should stack your whole day with 15 or 16 or 17 goals, because stuff happens, right? Life happens. And when those things happen, you're not going to be able to get to the other 14 or 15 things on your list. So don't over complicate your list. Set the goal, prioritize, and then plan that work that you're going to do. Look at this next slide. All of these things are going to help you, and I hope I'm helping somebody already. Here's one of the things: you have to learn how to say no. Now, there are going to be things in your life where people are going to ask you to do things. You have to decide what things you want to do. Now, if those of us who are still working, or those of you who are still working, you have to, sometimes you can't say no to certain people. So if your boss says you need to do X, you can't say no to that. You need to kind of do that. But if you've got a whole bunch of people in your life pulling you left, pulling you right, sometimes you've got to say no. Sometimes you can't say no to your kids. If they're your priorities, you got to deal with them. So you got to build them in. Believe it or not, you got to build them into your schedule. I build my family time in my schedule every day. All right. I say I got 6 things I got to do, 4 meetings I have to attend. But then when I go home, I want to make sure that I have some FaceTime. I talk with them. I ask them how their day was, right? And then, maybe at some time later on in the evening, I get up and do some work. So most people know I usually work a whole lot. I work at 1. I do some of my best work at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I know what people say: Greg, when do you sleep? Well, I get my naps in and I do get some sleep. But you have to set your own schedule and know when to say no to people who may manipulate your time. Now, if anybody has any of that, in your life, let us know, because I want to be able to help you have the courage to, sometimes you got to say no to people. Take a look at the distractions. Some of you in the chat said shifting priorities. Well, distractions. I know what you're saying, Greg. Distractions happen all along. They happen all day, all afternoon. Yes, but there are some distractions that you might be able to control. Look at what I wrote there. Anything that stops you from getting important tasks done is a distraction. You may have to manage your distractions to stay focused on completing tasks. Well, okay. Well, what kind of distractions are you talking about? Well, social media could be a distraction. Do you really have to check your Facebook page 82 times in a day? Or every time your phone pings, do you have to pick it up? Do you always have to answer that phone when you don't know who's calling you? Those are distractions that you can actually manage. I don't pick up the phone, especially when you get these robocalls. I let it ring, and if anybody who knows, if they need to get to me, they know how to get to me. If you call and you say, "Is this the man of the house?" I know you don't know me, so I'm not even answering that phone call. So you can control some of the distractions. Now, sometimes people can be distractions. Co-workers can be distractions. You're going to have to know how to control some of these distractions. In order for you to manage your priority, you got to learn how to manage those distractions. Let's talk about the big piece, procrastination. Why is procrastination one of the biggest time killers out there? Anybody? You can put it in the chat, or you can actually turn your camera on and tell me. Why is procrastination a big time killer? I'm waiting. I'm looking. You know why? Tomorrow never comes. Okay. If you have this this whole thing about, right, look at this, right? It said it stacks up your to-dos. Yes, it does. Right. You're wasting the time. Do you know why people procrastinate? You know why you procrastinate, right? Maybe you're doing something you don't really want to do. You know you need to get it done, and you keep pushing it off. Okay. That could be one of the reasons why you procrastinate. Or the task could be too big for you to do and you procrastinate. Well, one of the things I like to tell people is you want to break your task into smaller tasks. Don't try to do something huge. Don't try to, clean out your garage in one day. Sometimes you just got to go in a little corner and clean that corner out and then feel good about the corner and then come back later. Or you've got a project that you got to turn in, but you wait until the last minute. And I know people say that, well, Greg, I always like to work under pressure. Well, you know what? If you do that, usually something goes wrong at the last minute and you are not prepared to handle that unfortunate circumstance. And then what happens? You get jammed up. So don't procrastinate. Here's another thing that I think you can do to help manage your time. Look at the habits that you have. Take a look at your habits and replace bad habits with good habits. So first thing you got to do is recognize you got a bad habit. Well, what kind of bad habit? Maybe it could be social media, or maybe you just spend a whole lot of time doing something that is non-productive. Now, don't get me wrong. You need to have time to do stuff that you like, that's relaxing. Okay. You need to build that time into your schedule. But what I'm talking about is a habit that you want to change, but you haven't been able to change. But you have to take that old behavior, get rid of the old behavior, replace it with a new behavior, and therefore that old habit will go away. And when you get rid of that bad habit, you'll see that you'll have a lot more time on your hands than you did before. And so think about your own personal life and ask yourself, Greg said, I got a bad habit. You got to identify what kind of bad habit do you have, right? And if you've got a bad habit, replace it with some good habits, and then you'll see your life change a little bit. Don't overload. Okay, that's in the chat. Many of you said there's too many things. I just want to reiterate. Do not overload yourself on your list. Don't try to do too much in one day. Okay, have a reasonable number of goals to complete. And if you do not complete a goal, carry it over to the next day and then prioritize it as important. So sometimes if you have 6 goals, and I'm using 6 because that's what Greg uses, 6 goals. And then if I don't get one goal done, I carry it over to the next day and I prioritize that as very important. See, because you don't want your goals to grow hair on you. Okay. If you don't tend to something, it's going to grow hair and then it's going to be unmanageable. So try not to overload yourself. Be reasonable. Be good to yourself. Don't overload. Then you need to track your time. Sometimes when I'm coaching executives and they say I don't have enough time to do work, one of the first things I ask them to do is do a time log. Write down, what did you do when you walked in the office at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. You'll be surprised at how much time we waste doing stuff. If you just did that one day and said, okay, on tomorrow is Friday. If you just wrote down what I did Friday at 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, you'll see where your time goes. And if you do that, you can actually see where you're exhibiting a bad habit or you're wasting time. And then you can make some educated changes about how you do what you're doing. So like today, I had a bunch of work today. I had to meet with a new client today, and I decided I was going to do some of my work at home before I came to the office. And I knew what I was going to do today. So right after this, this session, I got to go to BJ's and pick up some stuff before it closed, right? Because I had to build that into my schedule today, because I didn't want to go tomorrow, because tomorrow I got to do some training from 2 p.m. to 10. So I want to kind of sleep in the morning. So this is why I'm saying, if you track your time and you figure out where you want to do certain things, you'll really be able to control your time in a different way, and you'll feel so much better about time. Let's talk about managing information. Social media could be a killer if you're addicted. You know, you have to admit, if you're addicted to social media, that's the first thing that you might need to say. I'm Greg, I'm a social media junkie. I need to, pull back on my social media consumption. That could eat up a lot of your time, okay? And so you could be either a consumer of social media or a creator of social media. But if you spend too much time on your Facebook, account, think about what you could be doing if you're not spending all that time on your social media accounts. So all I could say is, look at how much time you're spending on social media and control that time, because you could be doing some other stuff that you could be getting a little bit of more, returns on. But again, if that's something that you do, think about how much time you spend on social media. So let's talk about interruptions. And I want to get through this because I really want to open it up to question and answers, or just ask Greg, how do you get all of these things done, and how do you, what do you do? How do you get it done? So let's talk about managing interruptions. Interruptions can look like this. It could be people, it could be phone, emails, text. If all of emails come like flying into your inbox, hundreds of them in a day, right? But you got to know which ones you hit delete straight out. There's a whole bunch of emails I never open, delete. I look at the subject line, delete, right? Because, especially if it's somebody trying to sell me something. Hey, Mr. Bradley, I saw that, your website is not optimized, delete, right? Because I don't need to really talk to you. That's going to eat up some time. Social media, anything else that prevents you from getting stuff done. So here's my solution. If you can eliminate or mitigate the top 2 interruptions in your life that you control, you're going to see the difference. So I want everybody just to write down on the side your top 2 interruptions that you control. So your boss, you can't control your boss. If you're still working, your boss comes in and asks you to do stuff, you can't control that. But think about 2 things that you actually control. And during a Q&A, I want to kind of hear some of those things. All right? 2 things that you control, that if you got rid of those interruptions, you're going to see a huge amount of time that you have. Let's talk about delegating. Now, again, delegating is something that we all know how to do, or we should know how to do. If you're working and you supervise somebody, you should be able to delegate to someone to help you get certain things done. Look at the purpose. The purpose of delegating is to spend time doing other stuff. This is so important for you who are in business, managing a function, or in people. So for example, if I'm in business, there's certain things that I can do well and certain things I cannot do well. So what do? I farm it out. I delegate it. Sometimes I have to pay for it. If you manage a function, you have to delegate. You delegate so that you can get people, you delegate to develop people, not to dump on them. Nobody likes to be dumped on, but delegating really helps you get focus on the things that are very, very important in your life. So if you can delegate or outsource tasks to other people, yeah, it may be your benefit in the long run, especially if someone else can do it better than you can. So, there's certain things that I delegate to my kids, right? I know I should do, but I could delegate those things to my kids. Now, of course, I have to teach them what I want them to do. And then I have the right as a delegator to follow up to make sure that those things get done. So you have to look in your life to see what kind of things can I delegate. And, now that, you can delegate a whole bunch of stuff. So for example, some of you don't even have to go to the supermarket anymore. You can order stuff online at Stop and Shop. They will pick your stuff up and bring it to your house, to your doorstep. Now, that's not me because I do my own shopping. But the idea is that now we are in a society where you don't even have to leave the house. You got Grubhub, right? You want to order some food, somebody will pick it up for you and bring it to your house. That's delegating, right? I live in a house. I have a front lawn. My gardener came yesterday. Do you know how long it would take me to cut my grass? Probably hours. Do I have that kind of time? No. So that's why I delegate to a gardener to cut my grass, because I could make more money in 2 hours than I could be out there cutting my grass. Now, maybe when I'm 75 and I'm not working like this anymore, and maybe I want to do that casually as exercise, maybe that's when I'll do it. But right now, I got to delegate that function because I got stuff to get done. You also need to take breaks and relax. See, we live in a busy society. We live in a microwave society. I want it now. I can't spend too much time doing stuff. This is why we're all stressed out. Okay. We're stressed out because we don't take breaks. We don't relax. And the purpose of managing your time in the right way is to reduce your stress and your feelings of being overwhelmed. Right? How many of us have felt overwhelmed? If we've been overwhelmed, doesn't that really affect the way we respond to other people? Sure, it does. But you got to do something that helps you relax. And you know what? Whatever it is, you need to build that time into your daily schedule. So if one of your six things you got to do today is go to the nail salon, that's one of the 6. Build it into the structure. So take 5 things you got to do, and number 6 is go to the nail salon. Go get your mani-pedi, relax, but you need to put that into your schedule. Don't make it an afterthought. Build time in your schedule to take care of yourself. Do something fun, treat yourself, right? Stress can be detrimental to your health. I know when I was working at the MTA, I was stressed. I was getting into the office 7:30, 7:45. President needed this. This was happening, that was happening, had to go here, had to go there, right? I had gotten very, very heavy. I think I had, my highest I was like 270 pounds. When I recognized that I had to take care of myself, I lost 30 pounds because of the stress. I didn't take breaks. I didn't go on vacation. I didn't go play golf. But now, I relax. I travel. I still work, but I travel. And even when I go on a business trip, I take my time. I see the sights, and that's how I relax. So you have to take breaks and you have to relax. Build it into your schedule. If you got to go to the gym every day, make sure you write that down. Go into the gym, right? And I know the hardest thing is getting motivated to go to the gym. But if you write it down and you see it, I guarantee you're going to go because you see it written down. Or you got it on your app and it pops up as a reminder, go to the gym. All right. And so take care of yourself. Okay. Take care of yourself. Set clear deadline. Set a designated time to complete your task and mark your deadlines on in your paper calendar, your app or computer when things get done. When you are able to see all of the things that you have completed in a day, it psychologically is going to make you feel better. You're going to look at that day and say, wow, I got that done. I got this completed. When I look at my sheets, and I keep my sheets for 1 week, and I look at what I did on Monday, I look at what I did on Tuesday, I look at what I did on Wednesday, and I go, wow, I got a whole lot done, and I shred them. And then I just start it over again, okay? So schedule time to handle your task in advance of the due date. Remember we talked about procrastination? If I got something, when I knew that this particular session was coming up on the 15th, I had my PowerPoint done June 1st. I had it done 2 weeks in advance because you know why? I put it in my calendar. Do the presentation for time management. And I did it 1 week. So just in case, if something pops up or something came in, I had some time to some wiggle room. We got somebody on. Okay. All right. We got somebody that's on mic. All right. So this will give you a cushion to meet your deadlines just in case you get distracted or interrupted. So now, these are some of the tools that I use. You don't have to use them, but I offer them up, right? I believe in to-do lists. I have a notebook I created to do my to-do list. I actually created a sheet that I have. I'll show it to you in a minute. And I just reproduce it. I copy it, and every day I just write down those 6 things. Sometimes I add a 7, but if I get my 6 things done by 1 o'clock and I think of something else, I add it onto that day. And then I can get it done. And then I look at what I've accomplished. So get a to-do list. Think about a to-do list. Tool number 2, manual calendars. You can get a manual calendar from the dollar store. Well, $1.25 store now. All right. And you can put your stuff in there. You could just write it out, have a pencil or something like that, because you want to be able to see what your day is going to look like. You don't always want to feel like you're running behind schedule. Tool number 3, there are apps. I actually use Microsoft To-Do List. I have it on my phone, and I actually put it in and I say, oh, got to do this, and it'll give you pop-ups to remind you. You can set reminders on it. And I do this in conjunction with the paper calendar and the one that's in my email calendar. And then 4, you got to use what's Outlook. Outlook has a wonderful calendar. I have all of my meetings, all of my Zoom meetings. If I got to get a haircut, I got it in there, right? Because I don't want to get busy and and forget I got to get a haircut. So it's actually written down. And I'm going to tell you, this stuff has changed my life. I wasn't always like this, right? I was always running busy and I was forgetting stuff, right? Even when my wife says, don't forget, we got to go to somebody's party on Saturday. I actually have that written down in my stuff so that I don't forget, right? Because my wife always says I have selective hearing, right? She always says that. So I'm like, all right, wait. When she tells me something, I'm like, wait a minute. I put it in my calendar so that, and I set a reminder on Friday, on Saturday, I got to do this. So for example, another example, I'm just trying to show you how integrated this stuff is. I got 2 cars that are due for inspection by the end of the month. I actually put get car number 1 inspected on the schedule. You know why? Because if you don't, the month will go by, and then when you're out there, the cops will look at you and they'll see that your inspection sticker's expired, and then you'll get a $75 ticket, and then you go, oh my God, I forgot. Well, see, those are the things you can't forget. And if you can sign up for alerts that'll let you, it'll give you some leeway on being able to track your time. So these are some of the things that I did. If you look at that, I created that form on the left back in 2002 or something like that. I swear by this form. I make a copy of this form every day, and I put my 6 things on there. I say, do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put a priority code on there, and when I complete it, I check the box. And then once I finish, I shred it. Now, if there was something on this sheet that I did not finish, I would get me another sheet, take it off this sheet, put it on the sheet for the next day, and give it a higher priority code. Okay. And you've seen the at a glance calendars, right? These are wonderful. I mean, you don't need to get those because those are about 25, 30 bucks, but you can get one from the dollar store for $1.25. It'll do the job. And you can do it and don't commit to stuff if you don't put it down. I mean, let me tell you, I tell people, they say, Greg, can you do? I say, well, let me get to my calendar first. Let me check my calendar on my phone before I say yes to anybody. Those are some of the Microsoft apps. That's just some of the advertisement. It's Microsoft To Do. I actually love this app. You can put stuff in there, and when you're done, you just delete it. Okay, but it's right there. Because how many of us walk around with our phone every day, 24 hours a day? Summertime, this phone goes with you almost everywhere. So if you've got the app, your schedule is there in the app. And so I just think it's a great, see, that's my to-do app. And it tells you about your day, what's important, what you got planned, right? And what kind of tasks you got. Okay. See, here's some of the things I had, and all of these are done. Almost all of these are done. Okay. So I just wanted to share that. So I'm going to wrap this up in a minute. Productivity, time management, or managing your priorities is going to help you with your productivity. It'll increase. You'll see you can get more done. If any of you ever follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram, you know I'm busy, but the idea, I can get it in. You know why? Because it's all planned, right? When I do my content updates, I plan my content updates. I want to share what I'm doing, where I'm traveling, who I'm working with, who I'm training with. All of that is planned. Okay, all of that is planned. You want to reduce your stress if you manage your time? The studies show that your stress level will significantly decrease. And again, I just think you got to think about your work-life balance. When you've got a balanced work life, you're happier, okay? You're healthier, and you can get it done. So here's what I want you to do. Ask yourself this question: what will you start, stop, and/or continue doing to improve your priority management skills? So help somebody, share your thoughts. You can share it in the chat or you can share it in the air, because I'm getting ready to open it up to the Q&A. And I think this presentation will be posted on the website, in the near future. So you can always go back and get the information about this topic. So I'm going to open it up to anybody who wants to ask. What are you going to start doing? What are you going to continue doing to help manage your skills? All right, we got a couple of minutes. Okay, anybody? I've done enough talking.
Well, I'm gonna say this, Greg. I definitely heard you tonight, and I have some things I'm going to reorganize so I can get better at my time management. You gave some great information, right? It's all about your structure, and it's all about organization, right? How to get things done.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work on that. And then one thing I'm gonna take away is that sometimes that procrastination, right? So I'm going to flip this saying, right? We always say one day. Well, guess what? Tomorrow will be day one. So yeah,
I like that. I
appreciate
like that.
that.
Yeah.
Appreciate
I mean, anything that we can help each other be more productive, Rich, that's what I'm about.
Absolutely.
And when we set the programming, I wanted to make sure that the 4 things that we are going to provide to our COMTO audience, that's going to be something that they can actually use,
Yes.
and to help them. I saw something in the chat. Somebody said something in the chat there. I will go back to my to-do list. Okay, I will start to list 5 for now. I will organize what's the priority, and most important, will take time to breathe. Excellent. Excellent. You got a woosah, Janita. You got a
Yeah,
woosah.
yeah. So hello everyone. I'm Janita.
Hi there.
I was so on point for a lot of things in my life, and I had faced, and this is where time management comes in for me. So I'm going to be very transparent with all of you. So and I apologize for the noise. I had lost my husband of 25 years of August of last year. When I lost him, that's when I realized a lot of things that you discussed today that I'm no longer doing. I no longer have that to-do list. I procrastinate. I know there's things that I need to do, but it's more so, I'll do it later. If it's not later, I'll do it tomorrow. And the reality is those things never get done, because now I feel as if I'm overwhelmed. I'm feeling the anxiety because I know in the past, I was so used to being on top of all these things. Like I wouldn't overextend myself. So it wasn't so much of overextending. It's like you shared. I knew I had to do A, B, C, D. Those things would get done. Now I have A, B, C, D to do. And the reality is they're not getting done.
Right. And
So
sometimes, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Janita, go ahead.
So just taking a moment to come on here is just making me sit back to say, you know what, I have to get back to at least starting somewhere. So that's why I just listed to-do list, which I am going to do. And I'm going to see where it goes from there, because I have to get back to me.
Yes.
And in order to get back to me, I have to get back to that time management piece.
Yes. And you can do this on your phone, because Microsoft to do. It's free. You don't even have to pay for it. You can download it on your phone, and it's an app it's a free app, and you could just put all the things that you need to do in a day. But don't forget, you got to put some of you time in there, and you got to stick to it, you know. And also, Janita, your circumstance has changed. You know, you had a partner for 25 years, and there were certain things that you did, and now there's probably a whole lot of stuff you need to do on top of it now. And so you do have to think about yourself. You have to think about organizing your life every day, every week, every month, because you know what? Time, let me tell you, time is a bandit. It'll come and it'll go real quick, and you don't even know what happened. So that's why when you think about how are you going to get your stuff done, take the time, put it down, and then execute. And thank you for sharing your story. And I just hope that the next time you come back to a COMTO meeting, we want to hear that you say, hey, you know, I really benefited from that time management seminar. Okay. But you stay on the ship, but make sure you build some time in to take care of yourself. And thank you for being on tonight. All right. Anybody else?
Hey, Brother Greg.
Hey. Oh, hi, Kimberly.
Hi. Acting up so bad. So I hope you got. Thank you for that, Miss. That was really nice. You know, and I hope it gets better. That was
Thank
nice for
you,
you to.
sis.
But
That's
what
my
I took.
sister-in-law.
What I took away were a few things. Right. Try to set goals. I know what you mean. Also, I was like, all right. My next one is take behaviors and replace them with new behaviors. Things I'm so comfortable with, that's, and I know I need to change it. Delegating, I'm working on, because I am a supervisor. So things that you gave, like I wrote a lot of stuff down that you,
Right.
stuff that I do like that you say good, that many kids and pedicures, like I do that like every 2 weeks on my hair. So I do balance. 2 more things, marking on a manual calendar. I need that. And a for tonight. That's it.
Okay, I didn't catch the last one. What was I got the manual calendar, but what was the
It's a
other thing?
to-do list.
The to-do
To,
list. Okay. Kimberly, I can't tell you, I swear by it. That thing changes my life. I'm telling you, I can put stuff on there, and then I'm like, okay, I got 6 things to do in a 24-hour period. Right. And I'm talking 24 hours because sometimes, you know, if you get up at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock and you go to bed at midnight, that's a lot. You got some time to do some stuff. You could sleep 5, 6, 7 hours. That's me. I need about 5 hours sleep. And if I can get a nap in between, I'm good to go. But that list, I'm going to tell you, I can't tell people enough how much that list will change your life. And if you get into the habit of every day just writing stuff down or in your phone on that Microsoft to-do list or any of the to-do lists, you're going to see your life just change. You're going to say, wow, I got so much time to do stuff. And you know, and then you're going to go ahead and do something else, you know? So all right, I'm glad that you were on, and I'm glad you heard something that you can use.
yeah.
All right, thank you. So I see Anna Marie. She said, Greg, you gave us so many helpful time management strategies. I will make better use of the to-do list, which I think will help me stay on track. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is going to help you, Anna Marie. in a way that you will say, wow, how have I been doing stuff without putting it down? You're going to see a major shift in how well you manage your time. Okay. Anybody else?
Yes. Hi,
Oh,
Brother Greg. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
hi.
Good evening. This is Penny. Hi. What I want to start doing is, you know how you motivate everyone else? And sometimes we need to motivate ourselves. Sometimes I need to be motivated.
Okay.
And I have to learn how to motivate myself to do things and stop. On the other thing is I procrastinate on some things. You know, I say I want to do this, but it seems like your life is so busy. It's like you want to do this, but if you're doing this, you're doing that, and you're all over the place. And you don't stop to breathe. And
Mhm.
that chart, that book that you said, I'm going to have to get that book. I'm going to start writing down things because I'm not, I'm a seasoned chicken. Yes. And my memory is not that great as
Okay.
is, but
Right.
I have to start writing down things and try
Mhm.
to follow through what I want to do. Because when you're thinking 5 and 6 and 7 different things, and out of those 5 or 7 different things, you get maybe 2 done because
Right.
you're overwhelmed. And
Yes.
sometimes I feel overwhelmed because I
Right.
have to think about that. I'm thinking about
Start.
this and I'm thinking about that, and it doesn't get
Right.
done.
Right. So start slow. Just
And it's
get
like
into the.
sometimes you feel like you suffocated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But Penny, you want to start slow, do 2 or 3 things, put 4 things down, and see yourself moving through those 4 things. Now,
Mhm.
once you get the 4 things done, if you think about something else, put it on the same sheet or the other 2. Oh, I forgot. I need to do that. And then it focuses you on going to actually do those 2 things. Next thing you know, you got 6 things
Right.
on your sheet. All 6 are checked off. And you look at it and go, wow, I got them all done. And then you got all this time to relax, watch TV, do what you want to do, take a walk, right? So that's why I'm
Mhm.
suggesting you have to start slow, right? You have to start slow.
Yeah.
But thank you for being on the call.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Because it's 7, and I don't want to shut anybody down, but we can talk about this for a long time. But we thank you all for
Yes.
being on. So I'm going to turn it back over to Rich and Yvette for their final remarks.
Sure, I'll take it. Just before we shift into that closeout section, I did want to just say that I was listening with 2 different hats. And I forget which person it might have been that said it earlier. They were a supervisor. I manage teams. And so this is one of the things that I do, not just for myself, but also for my teams. And one of the things that I live by is my calendar, right? I always say, if it's not in my calendar, it's not getting done because I've either forgotten about it or it's just so far down the list, I can't even tell you when it's going to get done. But one thing that I've instituted for my teams are I have 15-minute daily stand-up meetings. And we review basically a to-do list, which shows everyone what they need to be working on for that particular day. And if where the dependencies are, right? Because what happens when somebody tells you they need something done? It's usually more than one person that is required to help get that whole thing done. So,
Mhm.
I want to just say thank you, Greg. Those were some really, really great tidbits. And, there's some that I can be doing better. And so I'm going to actually have to challenge myself and say, how do I improve in certain areas as well? Um, but thank you again
Very good.
for a very rich and informative session.
Very
I'm
welcome.
going to hand it over to Rich to close us out. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. Thank you, Greg. Like I said at the beginning, this brother is phenomenal. He brings it. He drops a lot of good information on you that you can use to level up or help someone else level up. You know, and we really appreciate everything that he brings to COMTO-New York, as well as to the national organization as well. Because when he's at the national conference, I'm telling you, it's like standing room only. People in their elbowing, trying to get the best seats. Get a spot next to the wall, because he really delivers a phenomenal session of things that we can use.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to LA next month, baby.
Yes, sir. Just make sure you save me a seat. You know how we do.
I will.
Okay. With that being said, I just want to thank everyone for joining in tonight. We have 3 more sessions. We have something else coming up next week, our Juneteenth celebration. I hope that you can find some time to join us. We have a phenomenal speaker who's going to deliver something about Juneteenth. We asked him to put a little twist to transportation in there. He said he's working on it, so it's going to be a wonderful event. Our events chair has also put together some nice games to do virtually. So it's going to be a wonderful event. So if you can join us next week, it's June 20th at, somebody help me, because I'm like Yvette, if it's on my calendar, I don't know what is happening. Is it like 7 p.m. I do believe. So that being said, I just want to again just thank everybody for joining this evening, and I hope everybody had a great experience. And if you did, let's give Greg a thumbs up. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. That being said, Yvette, as the host, you close us out. And I guess we'll reconvene next week, everyone. Travel safe.
I will leave the line open for any questions that folks have. Ivory Lloyd is our chapter secretary, and she has put a number of links in the chat. You can just kind of scroll up in the chat and look at those. We have a scholarship application that is open until June 23rd. We have scholarship funds that we are giving to high school, graduate, trade, or undergraduate students. So definitely, take a look at the scholarship link that's there. Also, you'll find the link for membership if you would like to find out more information and benefits about the COMTO organization. And that's about it. We wish you all a great evening and a happy weekend.
Hello, Yvette. I have a quick question, if you don't mind.